Hi students, we are discussing yesterday I introduced the kinetic energy. Okay, so what is the kinetic energy? Energy possessed by the body by virtue of its motion is called kinetic energy. Okay, its magnitude is given by half mv square. So the kinetic energy of a body depends upon mass of the body and velocity or speed of the body. It is always positive value. Okay, now we take this example. Find the kinetic energy. Find the kinetic energy. Find the kinetic energy of one cubic meter of water. 1 cubic meter of water flowing with velocity two meter second inverse. So this is a small example. Okay, find the kinetic energy of 1 cubic meter of water flowing with velocity 2 meter second inverse. So I want a kinetic energy. Solution. Kinetic energy, mass of the water first I will write. So mass is equal to volume into density. So what is the volume of the water? Volume of the water. Volume of the water is 1 cubic meter. Okay, 1 meter cube. And density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube, isn't it? This is density of water. So what is mass of the water? Mass of the water is equal to m is equal to volume into density. Okay, density let it be v rho. So that is 1000 into 1, that is 1000 kg. Okay, this is mass of water. So velocity of water is 2 meter second inverse. Okay, so what is its kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. That is half m, mass of water 1000 into v square, 2 square. So this is 2 square. 2 square becomes 4, 4 by 2, 2. So that is 2 into 1000 joules. So that is 2 kilojoules. So this is the kinetic energy of water. Take this small example. Okay. Now the next one. Relation between kinetic energy and relation between kinetic energy and momentum. This is very, very important. Okay. So the next topic is relation between kinetic energy and momentum. Okay. So what is, we know that kinetic energy is given by half mv square, isn't it? So you multiply this with this kinetic energy with m and divide with m. Okay, its value it won't change. Half into m becomes m square v square by m. M square v square can be written as mv whole square by 2m. What is mv? Since P is equal to momentum is mass into velocity. What is P here? Momentum, linear momentum. Linear momentum is given by the formula mass into velocity. Okay, so we have this expression. So m, instead of mv I am writing p, so p square by 2m. So this is very important relation. So what is that? Relation between kinetic energy and momentum. From this, from this expression we have, if mass of the body is constant, so see, this is very important relation. Ke is equal to p square by 2m, or we can write p is equal to square root of 2m ke. 2m k. What is k here? K is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. What is p here? Momentum. So this is relation between momentum and kinetic energy. Momentum is equal to square root of 2m k. Clear? This is very important equation. Okay. So from this equation what we have? See, if m, what is m? Mass of the body, mass of the object. Since mass of the object constant, since m is constant, we have kinetic energy is proportional to p square. Okay, that is k proportional to p square. Instead of kinetic energy I will write k. K proportional to p square, since m is constant. So if you draw a graph between momentum and kinetic energy by keeping mass constant, so how it will varies? It is symmetrical about so if you draw momentum and kinetic energy, so momentum may be positive or negative. So kinetic energy, this is momentum, so it will be like this. So it is a shape is parabola, symmetrical parabola. Okay, so it will be like this, symmetrical parabola about y-axis. So by taking kinetic energy on y-axis, momentum on x-axis, you will get a parabola equation. Okay, symmetrical parabola. K is equal to p square, and if you draw a graph, or we can write p proportional to root k. Both are same. Okay, both are same. K is equal to proportional to p square or p proportional to root k. That means if k2 by k1 is equal to, we can write it as p2 square by p1 square. That means if see here, if momentum changes some x%, how much it changes in kinetic energy? Suppose the momentum changes double, how much percentage change in kinetic energy? So example, if momentum is double, then percentage change in kinetic energy is how much? First option, 100% increases. Second option, B, 300% increases. C, 300% decreases. D, 400% increases. So this is the problem, a small problem. What is this example? If momentum of a body is double, then percentage change in kinetic energy is how much? This is the problem. How we can solve this problem? By using this equation we can solve. K2 by K1 is equal to P2 square by P1 square. Okay. So if momentum, initial momentum, let it be P square. Final momentum becomes double, 2P whole square. So that will becomes 4P square by P square. So P square you will get cancel, you will get 4. Okay. So K2 by K1 is equal to 4. So I want percentage change. So percentage change, to calculate that you subtract -1 on both sides. So K2 by K1 minus 1 is equal to 4 minus 1, that is 3. So what you will get here, I will write here. Okay. So K2 minus K1 by K1 is equal to 3. So percentage is change delta K by K into 100, that is called percentage change, is equal to 3 into 100, it will becomes 300%. 300% increase because K proportional to P square. So answer B option, increases by 300%. Okay. Okay. If small changes are takes place, if momentum changes, if momentum change by 1%, that is less than 5%. If it is like this, changes by 1%, then percentage change in kinetic energy. Percentage change in kinetic energy, how much? Okay. So if it is like this, you will get 0.5% increases, B option, 0.5% decreases, C option, 1% increases, D, 1% decreases, like this. Suppose for small changes, percentage changes, you will get see momentum change by 1%. So such problems we can solve by using this relation. Okay. See, such problems we can solve by using solution. Okay. So what is the relation between momentum and kinetic energy? Momentum K is equal to directly proportional to P square. So you can write like this, delta K by K is equal to, you write the power 2 into delta P by P. This is called fractional change. If you want percentage change, delta K by K into 100 is equal to 2 into delta P by P into 100. Here it is 2%, I will change 2%, 2% increase. So the momentum is increased by 1%. Then percentage change in kinetic energy is, you write here, delta K by K is equal to delta K by K change in kinetic energy by original kinetic energy into 100 is equal to 2 into delta P by P into 100 is given as 1%. So 1%, that is 2%. Okay. So answer is increased by 2%. That is the answer. Okay. Such problems we will solve by using this method. If you do like this, if it is holds good up to less than 5%. Okay. Suppose it will increases by 2%. So how much it is? 2 into 2, it will become 4%. If it is 3%, into 3, 2 into 3, 6%, like this. Okay. Suppose the reverse problem is, if kinetic energy increases by 1%, then percentage change in momentum. Suppose we want this. Okay. So how do you calculate? If k increases by 1%, so solution, we will write like this. So relation between k and momentum, k is equal to proportional to p square or p proportional to root k. So percentage changes is delta p by p is equal to, its power is half. So half into delta k by k. Okay, this is fractional change. If you want a percentage change, you multiply with 100 on both sides. So you will get delta k by k into 100. Okay. So that is half into delta k by k into 100, 1%. So half into 1%. Okay. How much you will get? Half percent. That is 0.5%. Is it increase or decrease? If momentum kinetic energy increases, momentum is also increases. So what is the answer? Answer increases by how much percent? 0.5%. That is the solution for this question. Okay. So these are the few examples how this momentum and kinetic energy will changes in terms of percentages. Okay. Suppose kinetic energy decreases by 19%, then percentage change in momentum. Suppose there is an example like this. Okay. Suppose kinetic energy decreases by 19%, then percentage change in momentum, how much? That is the question mark. Solution. How we can solve this problem? So the relation between kinetic energy and momentum. Momentum is proportional to root k, isn't it? From the formula, P is equal to square root of 2mk. So this is the formula. So from this formula we have momentum is equal to square root of k. So that is P2 by P1 is equal to square root of, if it is greater than 5%, you do like this, K2 by K1. Okay. So if it is initial values we don't know, let it be 100%. So if K1 let it be say 100, then K2 is decreases by 19%. For 100 it will decreases 19. So 100 minus 19 you will get 81. Okay. So 81, K2 you take it as. So you substitute these values here, you will get a P2 by P1 is equal to square root of K2 by K1. So what is K2? 81 by 100. So that is 9 by 10. Okay. If you want percentage changes, you subtract minus 1 on both sides. That is P2 by P1 minus 1 is equal to 9 by 10 minus 1. So what I did? I subtract minus 1 on both sides. So what I will get? P2 minus P1 by P1. I multiply with 100 on both sides. because I want a percentage change. So that is 9 by 10 minus 1, minus 1. So you take LCM, 10. 9 minus 10 minus 1, minus 1 by 10. If we multiply with 100, okay. So multiply with 100. Multiply with 100. What you will get? 100 by 10. That is minus 10%. So what is the meaning of minus? Decreases. That means if kinetic energy decreased by 19%, then the percentage change in momentum is 10%. So this is the answer. What is the meaning of minus? Decreases. What is the meaning of minus? Decreases. Decreases. Which one decreases? Momentum decreases. If kinetic energy decreases by 19%, then momentum decreases by 10%. That is the answer. Such problems we can solve by using this. Okay. So these are the few problems regarding relation between kinetic energy and momentum. Okay. The next one. Suppose how we can apply this relation between momentum and kinetic energy. Okay. So the relation between kinetic energy and momentum, how we will apply in practical applications. Okay. See. Suppose you take this problem. Suppose a car and lorry. A car and lorry. Lorry means heavy one. Are moving with the same momentum, or moving with the same kinetic energy, okay, or brought to rest, by applying same braking force, okay. Which one travel more distance, before coming to rest, okay. So this is the problem. Which one travel more distance before coming to rest? This is the A. B is which one travel more distance before coming to rest? Which one comes to rest? Early. This is the problem. Okay. A car and lorry. What does it mean? Car and lorry means car is a lighter one when compared with the lorry. Lorry is a heavy truck. Okay, that is the meaning. So car is a solution. So what does it mean? Car is lighter mass when compared with lorry. Okay, lorry is heavier mass. Okay. Car is a lighter one when compared with the lorry. Lorry is a heavier mass. That is the meaning. So both are moving with the same kinetic energy, okay, are brought to rest by applying same braking force. So what is the work done by this braking force? So work done by the braking force. Work done by this braking force is equal to F into S. So this work done is force into displacement. This work done is equal to, it is equal to change in its kinetic energy. How it is? I will prove this one. This theorem is called work energy theorem. Now I am going to explain this one. Okay, so this work done is equal to change in its kinetic energy. I am using this formula. Okay, finally they are brought to rest. So that means final kinetic energy is, so change, this is change in kinetic energy. Work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. This theorem is called work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. What is this? I will tell now. Okay, the next topic is this work energy theorem. So this work done is F into S. F into S. What is F? Retarding force. S is the distance travelled. This is change in kinetic energy. Final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. What is Kf? Final kinetic energy. So final kinetic energy is 0 because both are brought to rest. Initial kinetic energy half mv square. Okay, both have same kinetic energy. So I will write Ke is same for both because both have same kinetic energy. So F into S is equal to Kf. Final kinetic energy is 0 minus initial kinetic energy half mv square. So that is kinetic energy. Okay, this kinetic energy is the same. This minus indicates it is a retarding force. So I will write minus. What is the F minus? Minus F means retarding force. Retarding force. So this minus will get cancelled, same kinetic energy and distance travelled. So same braking force. Here F into S is equal to K. F into S is equal to K. Since kinetic energy F are same for both lorry and car and lorry, kinetic energy is the same, retarding force is same. So S is also same. So since Kf are same for both car and lorry, S is also same. What is S? Distance travel. So both travels same distance before coming to rest. So what is the answer? Answer is, for the first question, both travels same distance before coming to rest. So this is the answer. So what is the answer? Both travel same distance before coming to rest. This is the answer for this. Okay. Next, which one comes to rest early? So we want time. Okay. So time. I will write F into T. Impulse for to solve this one B, I am using impulse momentum theorem. Okay. So to solve this B, so for the first one is over, I use work energy theorem. Okay. So for that answer is both travels the same distance before coming to rest. Okay. Now to solve the second one, this is the answer for A, over. Next for B, which one comes to rest early? So you use impulse momentum theorem. Impulse momentum theorem. Okay. What is impulse momentum theorem? Impulse F into T is equal to change in momentum mv minus mu. Okay. What is this? Impulse momentum theorem. This is the for B. From I am using impulse momentum theorem. What is that? Impulse is equal to F into T is equal to change in momentum. So finally they are brought to rest, it is momentum is minus and it is retarding force minus F into T is equal to minus P. What is mv? Momentum. So we don't know the momentum. This minus minus get cancelled. So we have F, this minus indicates it is a retarding force. Okay. So F into T, what is T? Time taken to come to rest is equal to P. Okay. P momentum. Momentum we don't know. So what I am doing? I am converting to kinetic energy. So what is the kinetic energy? Instead of momentum, can I write 2mke? Okay, 2mk. Okay, instead of momentum, I am writing 2mk. So here F retarding force and K are same for both car and lorry, isn't it? For both car and lorry, kinetic energy is the same, retarding force is same. So here F, T, mk, there are 4 variables. Out of these 4 variables, 2 variables are same. K is the same, F is same. So we have, so T proportional to, remaining thing is proportionality, T proportional to root K. Momentum is also same, isn't it? See, mass is variable. So here time proportional to root m. So this is the answer. Masses are different. Car has less mass and it will take less time to come to rest. Lorry has more mass and it will take more time to come to rest. So which one will comes to early? Means car. So answer for B is car stops first. Car stops first. Which one comes to rest early? So car stops early. Car stops first, then lorry. Otherwise you can write like this. Which one comes to rest early? Car comes to rest early. Early. So this is the answer. Since, what is the answer? Since car has, since t proportional to m, since car has less mass, hence takes less time. Hence takes less time. Okay. Since t proportional to root m. That is the meaning. Clear? So this is the answer for B. Now, so here I am using two theorems, impulse momentum theorem and work energy theorem. What is work energy theorem? I will explain now. Okay? To answer this, I will change a little bit. Okay? Here, I will change this question a little bit. A car and lorry are moving with the same momentum. So I will change momentum. I will change the question. Okay? Now, a car and lorry are moving with the same momentum, are brought to rest by applying the same braking force. Which one travel more distance before coming to rest and which comes to rest early? The same question, just I change the question. Instead of kinetic energy, I have written momentum, same momentum initially. Both are ultimately rest. So solution. Okay? Car and lorry, same braking force here. Braking force is same. Braking force, let it be F. Momentum will be M. Momentum, let it be P. Both are same. For car and lorry. Okay? You have to notice this point. So braking force and momentum are same for both car and lorry. Now you use impulse momentum theorem. So to answer this, first one, A, I am using work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. As I explained, what is work energy theorem? This change in kinetic energy, work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. Work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. Okay? So work done is F into S is equal to change in kinetic energy, final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. Finally, both are brought to rest. Finally, are same for car and lorry initially. Finally, both are brought to rest. Car and lorry, by applying brakes, both are comes to rest. So finally, both are brought to rest. Since brakes are applied, rest means final velocity 0. That means final kinetic energy is also 0. Okay? So I will write final kinetic energy 0. This is minus braking force is minus Fs is equal to final 0 minus initial kinetic energy. So let it be K. So kinetic energy we don't know, but momentums are same. So instead of this minus get cancelled, so we will write F into S is equal to K. So instead of kinetic energy, I don't know kinetic energy. So I want to replace kinetic energy in terms of momentum. So force into displacement, instead of K I am writing P square by 2m. Okay. So what I am using the relation here, relation between kinetic energy and momentum. So we are using, what is that? Kinetic energy is equal to P square by 2m. So I don't know kinetic energy, I replace kinetic energy with the P square by 2m. But I know P, because P are same for both car and lorry. So here Fp are same. Fp are same. Then since here Fp are same, then S is inversely proportional to m. Okay, that means car has less mass, so it will travel more distance before coming to rest. So which one travel more distance before coming to rest? For that answer is car. Car travels more distance. Car travel more distance before coming to rest. Before coming to rest. So that is the answer. Since S is equal to m, mass is more for lorry, hence it travels less distance. So car has, after applying car and lorry, both are moving with the same momentum, are suddenly brought to rest by applying the same braking force. Then what happens? Car travel more distance before coming to rest. That is the answer. Okay, depending upon condition, answer will change. If in the previous example, if both will have same kinetic energy, then both travel same distance before coming to rest. Okay, notice this point. This is the answer for A. Now answer for B. Okay. So to answer B, I am using impulse momentum theorem. So for B, I am using impulse momentum theorem. Impulse momentum theorem. So what is impulse momentum theorem? Impulse is equal to change in momentum. Change in momentum. Okay. So what is impulse? F into t is equal to change in momentum is final momentum minus initial momentum. Final momentum is 0 because both are brought to rest. Initial, final kinetic energy, final momentum is also 0 because velocity is 0. So final momentum 0, initial momentum is p, it is same for both. Here minus f into t, minus represents retarding force, this minus minus get cancelled. So you will get f into t is equal to p. So f into t is equal to p. So here f t, f p both are same, then t is also same. That means since f p are same for both car and lorry. So I will continue here. Okay. So since F force, retarding force, momentum both are same for both, retarding force and momentum are same for both car and lorry, then both comes to rest comes to rest, T is also same. Then both comes to rest in the same time. In the same time. So then which one comes to rest early means your answer should be both. So both comes to rest in the same time. This is the answer for this question B. Clear? How I am applying here, you listen how we are applying this relation between momentum and kinetic energy. Here I am using two theorems, impulse momentum theorem and work energy theorem. I explained impulse momentum theorem. Okay, I already explained. Now I will explain this work energy theorem. It is very important. Okay. So, in today's class, I am going to introduce very important theorem, that is work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. So, this is very important theorem. Work energy theorem. WE theorem. Work energy theorem. Okay. Its statement is, as I explained, what is its statement? Work done by an unbalanced force or resultant force. Work done by the resultant force, work done by an unbalanced force or resultant force on a body is equal to change in its kinetic energy. Change in its kinetic energy. Okay. What is this theorem? Work energy theorem. Work done by an unbalanced force or resultant force on a body is equal to change in its kinetic energy. So, here this theorem we can verify by using a variable force or a constant force. Okay. First I will explain with the variable force. That means the speed of the body is also changes. Okay. And let us consider to prove this proof. Consider a body moving with variable speed, from position 1 to 2 as shown in the figure. As is shown in the figure. Okay. In a curvilinear path. How it is moving? In a curvilinear path. Like this. Okay. So I take this one is the position 1, this is the position 2. Okay. So the body is moving like this. Here the speed of the body, let it be v1. Here the speed of the body, let it be v2. I assumed that the speed of the body varies. Here the forces, let us see, first you find the different forces are acting on the body. Here I assumed that resultant force means there is more than one force acting on the body. So I assumed that many forces acting on the body. So those many forces I resolved into two components. One is tangential component and other is normal component. And then I find work done by all these forces. Okay. Then I summated that all the work done by all the forces. So the given forces is resolved into two components. The balance given forces, the force is resolved into two components. One is tangential component, I will write here, this is Ft, and another is normal to that Fn. Okay, I resolved these forces into two components. One is tangential components and other is normal components. Okay, then I find work done by all these forces. So during the from 1 to 2 position in a small interval of time, let ds be the displacement. Okay, during intermediate stage between 1 and 2. So between the positions 1 and 2, you trace the forces acting on the body. The first step is you trace the forces acting on the body. Those forces I resolved into two components. One is tangential component, other is normal component. This component, tangential force component, which is speeds up the body, okay, which increases the speed of the body, and this normal component will helps to change the direction of motion of the body. So both forces are doing work, okay, and you find the work done by these forces individually. Okay, in a small displacement, let it be ds. Okay, now what I am doing, resolve the force into components, resolve the force into its components. What are the components? Tangential component, resolve the force into components. Resolve a tangential component of the force will increase the speed, and normal component of the force, that is centripetal force. Normal component of the force will change the direction of motion. Okay, tangential component of the force will increases the speed of the body, and the normal component of the force will change the direction of motion of the body. Find work done by all the forces. Okay, the next step is work done by all the forces. Find work done by all the forces. acting on the body, acting on the body. Okay, so net work done is equal to, work done is equal to, I will write it as work done is equal to F bar dot S bar. Okay, work done is given by F bar dot S bar. So this force is resolved into two components, tangential component plus normal component. So that is the resultant force into ds. Okay, ds. So this is work done by all the forces, dW. Okay, that is okay. Now this work done is Ft tangential component into ds plus Fn plus ds. Fn is perpendicular to ds, so this it will becomes 0. So you will get Ft into ds. This component will becomes 0. So that is Ft, because theta is here, theta is 90 degrees. So cos 90 becomes 0, because force work done is, we have Fs cos theta. Cos theta. This is the basic formula. If you expand it, here cos 90 becomes 0. This is Fn into ds into cos theta. Okay, that is I expanded here Fn dot ds. So here the work done by this normal forces is 0. And this tangential force is, tangential force I can write it as ma, tangential acceleration into ds. Okay, so that is dW. So this work done, tangential force can be written as, tangential acceleration we can write it as v into dv by dx or ds. Okay, so this acceleration is given by v into ds, dv by ds. I think you know this expression, because a is equal to dv by dt, rate of change of velocity is acceleration. You multiply with ds, divide with ds by dt. I multiply with ds and divide with ds. ds get cancelled, dv by dt you will get. ds by dt is rate of change of displacement becomes velocity into dv by ds. So this, we know this expression already. So I am not proving this one. So I am writing directly this one. Okay. So a is equal to v into dv by ds. Instead of a, I am writing v into dv by ds into ds. This ds will get cancelled. So that is m into v ds. So that is dW. So total work done, I will write here. Okay. So total work done is, equal to integral dW from position 1 to 2. Total work done is integral m into vds from limits v1 to v2. So from position 1 to 2, I want total work done by all the forces. So that total work done is W m into integral vds. Vds is vds okay. So m into VDS, VDV, sorry, here it is VDV. So integrate VDV. So integral VDV becomes V square by 2. Limits are V1 to V2. So that is work done is equal to half m into V2 square minus V1 square. That is half m V2 square minus half m V1 square. So this is work done. This is called work energy theorem. Okay. What is this half mv square? Half mvt square final kinetic energy. What is half mv1 square? Initial kinetic energy. So what is the theorem? Work done by all the forces acting on a body should be equal to change in its kinetic energy. Hence the theorem is verified. Hence it is proved. Okay. So this statement is proved. What is this statement? Work done by all the forces is equal to change in its kinetic energy. Here I consider this theorem is useful for all the forces. Okay. So this work energy theorem, it is applicable for work energy theorem. Work energy theorem is applicable to all the forces acting on it. That is for both conservative forces and non-conservative forces. Okay. Conservative forces and non-conservative forces. So this work energy theorem is applicable to all the forces acting on it. That is for both conservative forces and non-conservative forces. So even though the forces are acting on the body, both are conservative or non-conservative, this theorem is applicable. Okay. And it is also applicable. Applicable to for both internal and external forces. Internal and external forces. Okay. It is also applicable. It is also applicable to a body or a system. We can apply for a system also we can apply. So these are the work energy theorem is very useful, which is work energy theorem is applicable to all the forces acting on a body on it for both conservative and non-conservative forces, and it is also applicable for both internal and external forces, and it is also applicable for both body and system. Okay. We will see further more applications regarding this work energy theorem in the next class. Okay. Today I will stop.